Hello and welcome to the new devlog of my plant shop manager game that has finally a name that I will keep secret for a little bit longer, since in this episode we will be talking about how I have done the final preparations for my Steam page and in the process created all the pieces of artwork necessary for it, including a reveal trailer that will come to the channel as soon as the Steam page is ready. Right now, things are on Steam site still, and I don't know how long it will take to have the page published, so here is a quick video explaining what I have worked on to have everything ready. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and let's jump into it. As you might have guessed, most of the things I have been working on are cosmetics, since the point of everything that was done during this month was focused on having good screenshots and trailer for the game. First thing I decided to work on was UI, since I kinda felt like the game looked a bit empty and lacked important pieces of information. Therefore, I present to you the top bar. If you've played any type of management game, you already know what a top bar is, but for those who are a bit less familiar with the concept, it's pretty much a piece of UI that shows you the resources the player currently has. Resources like money, seeds, and fertilizer, for example. I have also added a bit of extra fluff, like a red text with the amounts of money spent when using something for the player to see quickly how much they spend and how much they have left. The logic behind it is still not really in place, since the text only appears once and will never show up again, but as a rule of thumb, just remember that most things you see today are only looks and might not work. Second thing related to UI I worked on is the mouse cursor. Up until now I was using the default white mouse cursor, but of course the trailer must show a finished-ish game and a default white cursor will not do. This was actually trickier than I thought, as I first went with a design that was matching off of the UI elements, so beige and brown, but turns out it was a bit complicated to see the mouse cursor properly, so I also added some vines to the mouse cursor, but it was still looking kind of off if you ask me. I then thought about creating a mouse cursor that would be like a leaf, so basically green, and that is what I came up with in the end. Honestly, it does the job when it comes to being visible, but I'm still not happy about it, so I might change it in the future, but I felt like for now it was enough for the trailer. The next piece of UI I've worked on is something I am quite proud of, not only for the looks of it, but also for the logic that's behind. First, in terms of look, it is a very basic UI that uses the same style as other windows. The point of this piece of UI is to show the player which plants are present either in the shop or that have been selected to be sold. This is quite important because I want to push the players to grow all the available plants in the game rather than exploiting the most profitable ones. The logic behind the customers will make it so that they will like variety more than quantity. In terms of logic, the piece of UI preloads all the plants' logo and will add them to a grid. It will show up the amount of the same plant within the shop, meaning, for example, if you have 2 monsteras, then it will have a small ×2 next to the icon. Each time a new plant is selected to be sold, the data is kept within an array that I keep global and saved in memory. What is also really nice about this is that it also takes into account what is left in the shop, meaning every time you close the shop, the array is updated with all the plants that are still within the shop. As a small extra bit of UI, I created all the necessary icons for the last plant of my list, for which I added the logic, the jade plant. I created 2 buttons that will be on the clipboard UI window. One will be used to show the player more information about the plant, where it is originally from, what kind of climate they like, etc. The point is to add some pointers to the player on what are the conditions for the plant to grow healthy. Finally, I also added the font I have been using so far to the game and changed all the text to use this font. As a side note, this font will definitely not make it to the final version of the game, as I learned that it is copyrighted and I basically can't use it. The second topic I have been really focusing on for the look of the game is 3D assets, and I will start off with the one that perfectly bridges between UI and 3D assets, the price wheel. This wheel will be used to set up the selling price of each of the plants within the shop. appears next to the plant whenever one is clicked on, and by pressing the up and down arrows, the player can select a selling price. Pretty straightforward. In order to lower a bit the amount of different customer models that will be roaming around the shop, I have decided to create different variants for each of the customer models I will be making. I have therefore created 2 new variants for the customer we currently have to make the selling phase less boring. If you've been watching previous videos of mine, you know that I have talked about the fact that the players will be able to customize their shop according to their own taste. Here it finally comes. The first new variation is a more industrial type of look. I really like the brick wall personally. The second new variation is more rustic, with rocky walls for those who love the countryside. This now made, the players will finally be able to feel like it really is their own shop, and hopefully they will be allowed to let their fantasy roam free. With all of this done, I now have enough assets, varied screenshots and even a trailer ready, so the next step for us is to create the Steam page. This is actually in process right now as I speak, so if you like what the game is starting to look like and want to be notified whenever the Steam page will be ready, subscribe to the channel with the bell, as I will drop the trailer here as soon as the page is available. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, feel free to comment if you have any kind of feedback you would like to give, or if simply you enjoy the new shop variations. I will see you in the next video. Ciao, bye bye.